lucky enough to have Jim Gray here. Jim was one of the Gold Cup skaters, right?
Yes, I was.
What year was that?
The Gold Cup was in 1980.
And what was your first contest in the Gold Cup? Was it Big O or?
I rode all of them. I got 8th overall. I got 3rd at Big O, 4th at Oasis, and 5th at Upland. I probably did really bad in the other ones. That's why I got 8th overall. So I don't even know the results in those.
That's good enough.
Yeah, I had fun. It was good times.
Yeah. And today you skated in the Legends Expression session.
I did.
And then you went out and skated on the pump track.
I did. And I bled in both events. It was great.
It wouldn't be an event if you didn't bleed.
Guess that kind of works that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, I can see you got some plaster on you. Now, when you were in the Gold Cup, you were skating for the iconic GNS team.
I was.
Who else was on that team?
Neil Blender, Chris Miller, Billy Ruff, all sorts of Don Pollard, Mickey Alba, Jeff Phillips. All sorts of guys passed through. My core era was Chris Miller, myself, and Neil Blender.
Wow. That's an iconic team. And you went on to stay in the skateboard industry.
Yeah, they tried to kick me out, but I refused to leave. As you know. Bo worked with me for many years, by the way. So yeah.
He's done it all. He made wheels, he's done watches, and then he started Acme Skateboards. That's probably where you know Jim Gray from.
Nobody knows me. But that's where I'm from, in case you don't know. So, Bo Brown was the sales manager for Acme Skateboards for at least a decade. More than that, maybe? A little over a decade? I don't know. Something like a decade.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. Yeah. He should have been fired a couple times, but I didn't fire him. So,
so what do you think of the pool?
The pool's awesome. It's a little slippery. Mm-hmm. It's kind of tough because, you know me, I don't really like to contain myself, and I get a little too loose, and so I slide out. So,
yeah. Compared to the original combi pool, there's a pretty famous photo of Jim doing a gray slide on the flat wall. Was it?
Kind of. I think it was actually a nose grab grind over the hip.
Nose grab. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it was compared. This is like smooth, buttery, soft. That was like kinky, crazy, like so much vert. Although this is a little tighter, so it's still a little harder. Like doing that same thing would be hard for me to make that line because it's super tight now. But it is buttery smooth. It's great concrete work. It's amazing where they've come with concrete.
Right.
And so it was really good. Just got to figure out how to contain the slipperiness, though.
So you've seen pros that you skated with 40 years ago, and the new kids. Is there anybody here that surprised you?
Well, we're just watching that little kid in the last session, Jake, who was 11 years old. It was like, whoa, it's just another. I mean, I was obviously around when Tony Hawk was 8 and 9 and 10, and he wasn't that good when he was 11 years old. So seeing a new generation coming on who they learn everything that was pushed to the peak of the last generation, and they just take it from there. And so he's the best surprise that I've seen today. But as far as watching Tristan Rennie, who he's a sponsor when he's 8, and now he's a father out there, and he does the craziest lines, and I think most people can't even tell how crazy they are because he looks like he's sleeping when he does it. He's just so relaxed and so chill. Yeah. So it's amazing. I'm happy that I've got to be connected with so many of these kids over the years, and then get to go out there and race with the washed up old dudes too. So.
Yeah. So we've seen skaters from all over the world that we've competed against, we've been on teams with, and even if there were rivalries back in the day, everybody is here as one big family.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a dysfunctional family, but ultimately, when it comes right down to it, I mean, we have the bond of going through the same system, same cycle, same ups and downs.
Same scars.
Same scars. And we still have we have the same addiction. How's that? So we're like a big AA meeting. Our addiction is skateboarding, and it's a healthier addiction, and it keeps us sane and crazy at the same time.
That is true. That is true. Now you're doing PowerFlex wheels again.
I've been doing that for a few years. Yeah.
One of the original skateboard wheels. Bob Lou, the founder, actually.
Rest in peace.
Yep.
Beautiful man. Funny man. He's got quite a ball of energy, Mr. Baloo.
Right. You skated for PowerFlex with Reggie Barnes and some other guys, Spencer. And what made you want to bring back PowerFlex wheels?
Well, Well, back when we were doing Acme, Bob would stop by the factory now and then, and he would always like, I want to do Powerflex again. I think we made some Powerflex stuff for him at some point, some boards and some stuff, but it was a little too early. It wasn't. Skateboarding hadn't embraced its history. Remember, we did GNS together. The Fiberflex skateboard, which was made in the late 70s, was remade in the 90s by us because of Bo Brown. He worked with me and he had the idea, so I followed through on it, got that done. But even that was kind of too early. We sold a few hundred of them. They collect them, and the collectors out there call them the Acme Fiberflex and the GNS Fiberflex. But the Gordon and Smith brand that we did, we did laminated longboards when Sector 9 was still using plywood.
Right.
But it just wasn't ready yet, and when it went, so we were like ahead of our time. And so I wasn't in a rush into doing like an old brand name because people didn't care. But kind of after the Dogtown movie came out, people started embracing the 70s, the whole vibe of the original roots, and it was just, okay, let's try this, it'll be fun. It's like a side project. It's not really, didn't expect it to take over the world, but as you know from when we made stuff, I wanted to make good stuff, so we went out and made some good stuff and invested some money in the molds and did stuff that other people didn't do. And it's going well. It's fine. We're small, but we're having a good time.
That's perfect. And La Quinta, California. What do you think? We had the mayor in here a little while ago.
That's awesome. No, La Quinta, this is, it's showing that skateboarding finally has risen above the rough image, in a sense, that it's just a bunch of troublemakers. And they're out there, believe me, I know that too. But it's an athletic endeavor, and it's healthy. And what I've seen, it save so many lives of kids that otherwise would have got off track, lost. They have a skate park to hang out all day long, so they're not out partying, drinking. They're riding their skateboard. And here 50 years later, it's still my go-to thing to do. So now that cities have kind of realized that and stepped up, this is it's like a country club for skateboarders. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's pretty amazing, is what it is.
It really is.